room. He always nails it. I don't understand his brain. We touched on it a little bit. We want to get back to it now because Anthony Davis was having that sort of revenge moment, if you will, in the start of this game on Saturday. And for 3 quarters, we were like, this is cool. The debut was 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks. That was only in 31 minutes against the Rockets. And then late in the third, he left with an injury. He was the 3rd player in Mavs franchise history to record 20 or more points, 10 or more rebounds, and 5 or more assists in any half. And we were loving it, but Shams, of course, reporting he's going to miss multiple weeks with the left adductor strain. They only have 29 games left, by the way. They sit 8th in the West with a 28-25 record. So, you know, I'm sure if you had a camera on Nico Harrison the moment that injury happened, I can't imagine the words that were said out loud or in his mind, Chandler. But what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is brutal, especially just how well he was playing, how dominant he's been all season long with the Lakers. And this trade was nuts, right? But this trade was more crazy because of the secrecy, because it was with Luka. And Anthony Davis, we all know how all world of a talent he is, how dominant he can be. But there's more. If you look at both of these guys, Anthony Davis and Luka, there's been more question and concern on AD's health than Luka's health. That's why I never really understood this narrative about Luka being out of shape or not available. He plays more than Anthony Davis, and he's 6 years younger. So like the whole justifying of that never really made sense to me and never really added up to me. But again, Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, he is going to be a dominant force. This short-sighted trade, I think, is solid for the Mavs. I think with AD healthy, the Mavs are still a really, really good team and possibly a contender. I just think when you look at the history of this dude, it's a risk. He's not quite like a Joel Embiid Zion. He's nowhere near that, but you have to factor in him missing some time. And that's a huge risk that they're taking there when you move a 25-year-old megastar like Luka for a 31-year-old, you know, not the best basketball probably behind him. And now if you can get him consistent with 25 and 12 and 6 and him do what he's been doing, that's great. But now when something like this happens, it kind of sheds that light like, oh man, we just traded for a 31-year-old that's now hurt again. Like it's a tough blow for them.
It's really tough, Danny.
Yeah. I mean, he had a great outcome. Like he hears the rumbling, so he came out fired up. Listen, I know you guys are upset about Luka, but I'm here, and I'm good enough too. I'm good enough to get it done, and he showed that, and he can be that. Especially with the other bigs, it takes a lot of, you know, of the load off of him, offensively and defensively. He has another big that can block shots, that can rebound, can body up, and free him up for, you know, offensive rebounds himself. And he's hitting threes, comes in confident. I had a similar situation. This is where I was concerned. I hope it's just an adductor strain and not something more, because this can trickle down to the groin. This can trickle down to something else. If there's any type of tear, or osteitis pubis is what they, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the correct or technical medical term. I had it, and it takes a long time to come back from. And I was not a very athletic person before, but after, a lot less shot blocking, and I wasn't as athletic after. So my concern after, hopefully he takes care of this the right way. It doesn't become more than what it is. And hopefully he still has his, you know, his bounce back or his athleticism where it doesn't, you know, hinder from him, you know, getting to the rim or going to the basket. But yes, this is a situation that hopefully I'm hoping that it's not more serious than the strain.
And by the way, we haven't really touched on like the riot, the protest outside the arena, the Nico beefing up security. It's not about AD. Obviously, when they say we traded Luka, the first question is for who, right? Like, I don't know who besides like Wemby or Jokic, maybe you could say that would have made that fan base happy. So again, this isn't like about Anthony Davis, who Max Christie also has been great for them. He might be like the best throw-in of all time in a trade if he keeps playing like he's playing. But this isn't like an Anthony Davis versus Luka situation. It's just Luka was their baby, man. They since draft night, they acquire him like this from day one. Everything he's done, he's kind of the next Dirk, like moving forward again, going to the finals. So it's not about AD versus Luka. Obviously, that is a thing, and with Anthony Davis healthy, I think that's why they did it. They believe in this team with him on the floor, but I don't know what this trade would have made that fan base happy unless it was like Wemby or Jokic, like I said. So again, this was just such a shock, I think, to the fan base, to the city, that is why they're irate, not because it was for Anthony Davis.
By the way, I don't have an issue with protesting or if you want to return your season to whatever, but the death threat people, you got to get a little perspective on life. I mean, this is sports, for God's sakes. Can we relax just a little bit? But yeah, protest all you want. That's the American way. Play-in game. Right now, look, they're in the 8th spot. They're about a game and a half behind who's in 7, about a game and a half ahead of who's behind them. It's going to be a lot of a jumbled mess at some point. What are the odds? Are they going to stay, Chandler, in the 8th spot? Are we looking at a play-in? Like, what's more realistic here?
Yeah, I think they can only go up. Right? I think they're better off than Zach. They're better off than Phoenix, Golden State. Again, this is all dependent on Anthony Davis being healthy and not missing 2 months right now. If that's the case, then yeah, I can see them sliding. But again, I think this trade right now makes them a real threat. They have so much size with Lively and Gafford, and now they have great guard play. And Max Christie, again, he's been great. No one's talked about them because he's not such a name like Luka and AD, but he's going to help them. And now Kyrie Irving again. Kyrie Irving just fully has the keys to do the things he does and be dominant and have the ball in his hands to be able to even play that 2-man game with AD. So I do think they'll kind of stay somewhere in there. I think there'll still be a tough out. Like you put them in the 7th seed right now and they play Memphis first round. That's a hell of a series. I'm not just going to go ahead and pick Memphis right away. So obviously it's obviously key if Anthony Davis is going to be available. If he's available, I like their chances a lot. If he's not, it's going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, nobody's going to want to see them in the West in the first round, no matter who it is. OKC, Memphis, Houston, they are the Philly of the West last year. Nobody wanted to see Philly when Joel Embiid is healthy. But as of right now, without AD, I think they kind of sit where they are. They are better than the teams behind them. Sacramento's been playing better, but I still don't see them catching them. With AD, I think they go up. But as of right now, he's out for a while, and I'm expecting him to be out for at least 2-3 weeks. I would love for him to be back for that game on the 25th because I want to see that one. But it looks like he'll be out for at least this month of February and be back in March, which isn't so that's more important than health. Hopefully he's healthy, in March, April, and May. So he's playing the best basketball. To be safe, I would work around this adductor thing very, very, gingerly and be very careful and fragile with it because it's a thing that can change the career very differently if you don't take, real care.
And
that is not what they want to hear.
And what's tough is obviously, they want to prove they won this trade. They want Anthony
100.
Davis healthy. But this isn't an injury that you rush. Like Danny just said, this is something that can linger, that can kind of be career ending if it does get that severe. So they have to be smart with Anthony Davis moving forward. You just traded your 25-year-old megastar in his prime, going in his prime career for this guy. You can't risk a serious injury with AD.
That is just cruel. It's cruel sports god moment. There was a funny moment from the weekend, though, Mark Cuban with a sit down with Bill Gates. And here he is.
If after you left Microsoft, you found out that Steve Ballmer traded Windows 11, like the new hot operating system, for Windows 10, the Hall of Fame, but older. What would you do?
It's a perfectly worded question. He's a great interviewer. Chandler, your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. It's a pretty good analogy, right? Like, and again, great. I don't think he was involved in this. I don't think you hear the reports that he tried to make a Hail Mary, call, and by then it was too late. And I firmly believe Mark would have never traded Luka. That's been his guy since day one. You've seen the interview about him filing for divorce with his wife before moving Luka. I do think he was truly caught off guard by this. And this is Mark being Mark. This is hilarious. And I'm here for it. I loved it.
Bill Gates, a sports fan? I don't even think I know.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Right? Like
sure.
he laughed like he knew what he was talking about. So even if you don't like sports, you probably knew what he was talking about.
The world knows, regardless if you know Luka or not, the world knows exactly what's going on.
God, it was perfect. All right, we will take a quick break. Another debut did occur over the weekend. Jimmy Butler as a Warrior, and we've got more drama in Philly when Run It Back returns.
Run it over, run it back, yeah, run it over, run it back.